Right now, life has us keeping our distance, but there's never been a more important time to come together. Scouting looks a little different than what we're used to, sure, but across the country, Scouts are coming together to learn, grow, and serve even while apart, because that's what Scouting has always been about. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Our culture is one of perseverance and determination. Our foundation is that of always being prepared. When you think about it, we've been preparing for times like these for over 100 years. Because for the past century, we've been pioneers, adventurers, helpers, scouts. Nothing can stop us. We've got this. We are Scouts.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Brad Arbuckle, and I'm your council president. Joining me tonight as presenters are Don Shepard, our council scout executive, and Kevin Will, our council commissioner. As you know, we are living in a very interesting and uncertain time, and we are experiencing some very unique and unprecedented events, namely the COVID pandemic and the National Council's bankruptcy. These events have had a significant immediate impact on our council, and we anticipate and expect that they will have a significant impact on our council over the longer term. As you know from our prior fireside chats, and as these events have made very clear, it is imperative that our council become more efficient, more effective, more self-sufficient, and less reliant on the National Council. Accordingly, and as we will explain tonight, we will be repositioning our council to improve the delivery of our program and to facilitate greater program success through enhanced volunteer engagement at the district level. So with that as our goal, we're going to discuss with you some key program and operational updates. Those include changing the structure of our council from 4 field service councils to 2 divisions, the membership fees being implemented by the National Council, the program fee that will be implemented by our council, and the steps being made to facilitate the re-engagement of our program post-COVID. So with those as our goals, I'd like to turn it over now to Don Shepard.
Thank you, Brad. Good evening, everybody. I want to set some ground rules for this evening, and right now on your screen, you're looking at a slide that has communications at MiScouting.org. Tonight, what we'd like you to do is if you develop questions during this presentation, given the size and scope of how many folks are on, we would like you to forward your questions to communications at MiScouting.org. And once you've done that, we're going to collect those and we're going to bundle them together in a list of frequently asked questions. And those questions will then be made available to everyone tomorrow. What we're going to do is put together all of the handouts from this evening along with those FAQs, and we are going to send you a link to all the folks that are registered for this webinar. And that link will lead you to our website so you can download any of those documents that you wish to have to look at in the future. So I appreciate you all joining on us this evening, and we'll get ourselves started. Next slide, please. So there's really 3 primary reasons for this change that we're talking to you about tonight. And those 3 reasons come with some history. So number 1, if you look in that left-hand column, you'll see that even before we came together as a Michigan Crossroads Council, one of the reasons we came together was because there was a lot of red budget sheets across the state in the 9 legacy councils. And as a result, when we came together, we had some significant deficits. We have been the last 7 years trying to pull out of that deficit position and to have a balanced operating budget. And as a result, we're needing to make some changes in order to balance our budget and secure the interest of scouting as we move forward to the future. The second reason that we're going to make these changes is related to what I call timing. So we had a number of vacancies and retirements that were coming in key positions. And the BSA bankruptcy, along with COVID-19, created a perfect storm, if you will, for us to consider implementing changes within the council. This summer, there are no fundraising events scheduled, given our position that we didn't know until last week that we would have any kind of a shelter order lifted. Also, we had to cancel our summer camping operation, and as a result, we were in a financial position where we had to make some changes. So this is the perfect time to make these changes, because we have 3 months over the summer as a professional staff to retool and reorganize ourselves and to normalize our operations before getting back up to full speed in September. Along with those two things, we had the challenges from our national organization related to our Field Service Council base. The structure that we had in the 4 Field Service Councils was implemented in 2013. And when it got implemented, it was not adequately supported since then through the resources at the national office. Many people came and went. They didn't understand the Field Service Council structure, and we are the only Field Service Council structure in the country. And so we had a difficult time getting consistent membership reports or finance reports, et cetera, because everything was broken up into 6 different business units. And in order to get a single Michigan Crossroads Council report, we had to put all those together in a spreadsheet. And in doing that, migrating all that data, there was a good chance there would be a formula that was messed up or whatever, and it would cause us some consternation related to producing various reports to support our volunteers and to support our professional needs. Next slide, please. So the slide that you're looking at here is related to basically our fireside chats that we did over the course of the winter. We did 21 different talks across the state, speaking with literally thousands of volunteers. And as part of those fireside chats, the volunteers kept asking us over and over for more district level opportunities. In 2013, when we became One Michigan Crossroads Council, a lot of that administration of camporees and training events and things of that nature were moved to the council, Field Service Council level. And as a result, the districts no longer were administering that program. There was a yearning from our volunteers for that to be returned. And so we listened, we heard you, and we have created a structure that I'll share in a few minutes, whereby the districts are going to have more opportunities to deliver that training, those program events, and things like merit badge colleges and all that sort of program stuff. So what is not changing is the district boundaries, nor are the district professional staff changing for the most part, unless someone might have received a promotion. But the district boundaries will not change. Therefore, district committees will not change, and neither will the volunteer structure at the district level and below. So there will be no changes from that standpoint organizationally. What is changing is the 4 Field Service Councils will become 2 divisions, in the East and in the West. There will be more district program opportunities and empowerment, as we talked about a moment ago. The professional team structure will be adjusted to create efficiencies. One of the things we heard as we traveled around doing fireside chats was we were too top heavy. And as a result, if we made these changes that we're going to talk about tonight, we have reduced our professional team at an administrative level by 12 positions. So the last thing I want to talk about here is what is changing along with this program opportunity is the fact that we have, I don't know, around the state, probably 13 different trailers full of program equipment that are related to our training events. They're related to administering camping programs and camporees and all that kind of stuff. But we don't have really any accurate inventories to draw from. So one of the things that we're going to do as we push program down to the district level is bring that equipment together under one roof, and we're going to inventory it, and then we're going to redistribute it for the use of delivery of those trainings and activities, camporees, merit badge colleges, et cetera, et cetera. So we're looking forward to doing that in conjunction with our volunteers who are currently supervising a lot of that equipment. Some of it might even be in somebody's garage somewhere. But we're going to work with those training teams, and we're going to work with the Wood Badge groups and NYLT and everyone else, and we're going to figure out what equipment is owned by the council and how can we efficiently provide it for all use across the Michigan Crossroads Council. Next slide, please. So, a lot of economic forces in play. And as a result of these economic forces like COVID-19, the BSA bankruptcy, the fact that we've been running in deficit positions, et cetera, we had to make some difficult decisions, and we had to make some changes at a Michigan Crossroads level. And so our alignment to become one Michigan scouting community was very important. And so we will be the Michigan Crossroads Council. We always were, but we will be operating and delivering service to our volunteers through two divisions moving forward, an East Division and a West Division. And I will get more into that in a moment. We have streamlined our processes. One of the things that we've looked at is through this 2.5-month period of COVID, we've had to work from home, like many of you. And as a result of working from home, it's forced us to realize just what our capabilities are from a virtual standpoint, and to really focus on how we could do more with less to deliver the virtual programming that you may have experienced over the course of the last 2.5 months. We vow that through this economic adjustment, we're going to work more efficiently to serve the scouting community. We're going to create efficiencies in how we administer and deliver program to a stronger way, in a more robust way to our volunteers at the district level and at the unit level. We're going to take advantage of those digital platforms for information and communication, much like what we're doing tonight. We've done virtual roundtables. We've done fireside chats. We're doing this town hall tonight. We've delivered a lot of information to our volunteers, and where we used to have on-site meetings and have 40 or 50 people show up. Tonight on this call, right now we have 257. So we're able to reach a much larger platform of people through these digital resources. We're going to change some of our traditional methods of doing business. Just because that's the way we've always done it does not mean that the way we should do it moving forward. But don't fret, because we're going to consult and work with our volunteers as we move forward to get this recipe correct as we deliver scouting moving forward in a post-COVID environment. We will commit to you to have a stronger customer service and customer-focused base. We're going to open those lines of communication and avenues for more member input so that our volunteers will have input up through to the operating boards that will be in the two divisions, and from there to have input to the MCC board. We're going to have more program opportunities closer to you. Not only are we driving them down, but the districts, as they look at the program schedule, we're going to give districts an opportunity to help plan that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But as we plan that, we're going to have a chance to cluster together in some districts and move these events closer to you so that the travel time may not be encumbering someone who has a difficult time traveling. We're going to modernize our camp settings. We did a survey with our volunteers last year, and that survey basically said that we wanted to modernize the facilities and have more flush plumbing and better shower facilities and those sorts of things. And as a result, we have a lot of that being put into play this summer. Because we don't have camp going on, we can go into those facilities and we can make a lot of those changes that we're talking about. We're going to find more ways to ease the burdens that have been imposed from the national membership fees as they continue to rise. And we'll talk some more about that later. And we're going to maintain the future of scouting and build a strong base, a strong foundation, so that scouting in Michigan will live on into the future for many, many years to come. Next slide, please. Okay, the map you see in front of you is the picture of the Michigan Crossroads Council. We are one council. We are one Michigan Crossroads Council. and we have 2 divisional structures that are simply tools for our professional team to provide service to our volunteers through the district council and division level volunteers that work hand in hand with us to deliver resources to our units and districts. Because we're one council and we only have a few of the Michigan Crossroads Council patches left in our scout shops across the state, we're going to have a Michigan Crossroads Council patch design contest this summer, and your youth will be able to submit designs and there will be a winner selected. And once that patch has been selected, we plan to have them produced and available for purchase this fall as we roll out the scouting program again in September. Next slide, please. This slide represents our current camps, offices, and leased properties. So the camps are green triangles. The camps that we currently have that were closed and for sale are in the red squares. The leased offices are in the crosses that you see there, the X's. And Port Huron, however, is an owned office, but I want to talk more about that in a moment. And then our white circles are the offices that we will use moving forward. So as far as leases are concerned, the Kalamazoo office, the Lansing office, the Burton office, and the Troy office are all leased properties. Those properties right now are costing us roughly $350,000 a year to operate with the electric and all the related costs, including the leases, et cetera. And so what we're planning to do is, as we can release those offices, we're going to lease the space that we occupy to a new tenant, and we're going to live through the leases that begin to end in 2026. And as we move forward, we'll move out of those facilities and we'll start utilizing the resources of some volunteers who have offered some space to us, or many of us will simply be working from home and be doing our printing, et cetera, in a little different fashion. So you might ask yourself, what happens to the scout shops? Next slide, please. So the scout shops will remain. All those red check marks will continue to be the scout shops in Michigan. And so those scout shops will all remain. And as they remain, those doorways will be open to you to purchase awards and advancement, et cetera. But also, if you look up at Traverse City, we are going to build an online system that will be available for our members in September that will allow you to purchase awards and advancement, books and resources, and uniforms online. I won't say we're going to be quite Amazon, but we're going to be sort of Amazon-like. And when you make that order, it's going to be our goal to fulfill that order and have it in your hands within 72 hours where possible. And so we will work. We heard you during the fireside chats, and we heard about the exorbitant expenses for shipping for small amounts of items. We're going to work to solve that problem and make sure that if you're ordering your stuff online, not only are you getting a fair shipping price, but that we'll make it available to you as quickly as we can. Now, as it relates to the white circles, in the West, we have the President Ford office that currently there is called the DeVos office. In the East, we have the Dowk Center, which is the Great Lakes office right now. In the South, we're going to have the Ypsilanti office, which will become our membership support facility. We are bringing all of our membership registration back from Texas, and we're going to do it under our own roof. And by doing so, we're going to save $145,000. And as a result, the Ypsilanti office will become headquarters for that membership team. Additionally, in Auburn, due north, we're going to have our accounting team, and that's currently where all of our record storage is located. Historical record storage is all located in Auburn. So we'll have our accounting team in Auburn, a membership team in Ypsilanti. We will have our anchor office in the east at the Dowk Center, the anchor office in the west at the DeVos Center, and Traverse City will become not only just the office for the northern part of the state, but it'll also become a distribution center. Next slide, please. Okay, so we talked a little bit about being one Michigan Crossroads Council, and we talked a little bit about what the map's going to look like and how we're going to serve our volunteers through that structure that I just shared. And now what I'd like to do is talk to you about the professional structure that's going to serve you as well. So the Michigan Crossroads Council Cabinet will look like this. We'll have a Scout executive. We'll have an HR specialist who will be also our assistant. And that HR specialist will handle all of our employees that come in and out of the profession, happen to retire or happen to, for one reason or another, need some sort of processing with our national organization. In addition, we'll have a deputy scout executive responsible for all field operations. That means all of our districts. All the districts in the field will report up through their districts and through their field directors to the director of field service, and then up to our deputy scout executive or chief operating officer. We'll continue to have a chief information officer who works with graphic design, social media, tech support, all of our websites, you name it. If it comes under marketing and communications, the chief information officer will handle the team that takes care of that. Our chief financial officer will handle all the accounting. We have a $16.5 million budget, and that budget is a pretty large budget for a council our size. And the chief financial officer will work with the accounting specialists and the controller to make sure that we're having clean audits and things are going extremely well, and we're being very good stewards of the funds that we raise through the scouting program. The next two positions will be a deputy scout executive for fundraising and board development in the West, and a deputy scout executive for fundraising and board development in the East. Then we'll have a chief program officer, or deputy scout executive of outdoor adventures and program. And I'm going to talk a little more about that in a second on the next slide. The MCC facilities director will be responsible for all the bathroom and latrine and shower upgrades we just talked about, along with many other maintenance and capital projects that are going on in our 5 camp facilities that you just saw in the green triangles on the map before. So that is our cabinet, and we're prepared to give leadership serving you and your needs. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next slide talks about our program operation, and this is the one where I told you we're going to have a few changes because we listen to our volunteers during the fireside chats, and we're driving down the program to the districts, allowing them to take care of activities and training and some advancement and camp promotions, etc., all of that kind of stuff. So at the top, you have our chief program officer. You'll have an operations manager who will be handling all of the permits and all the licensing and all of the NCAP stuff, the National Camping Accreditation Program, all of the details that are related to the state, all of the details that are now related to managing the processes around COVID and those sorts of things. So that will be our operations manager. The red boxes you see below that will be our camping directors, and those camping directors will have 3 main drives as their leadership role will dictate. First one is for business development. That is to bring business into our 5 camp facilities. And as they bring that business into those 5 camp facilities, they'll be working closely with community organizations. They'll be working with churches and schools. They'll be working with other nonprofits and other individuals to bring business into those camps and create a revenue stream while scouting is not utilizing those facilities. And in some cases, they may even be there in another part of camp while we're doing something else on the other side of camp. But that's the business development aspect. The program director side of this is going to be related to that yellow box at the bottom. And that box has a set of red letters in it, and that's a new district position. That individual will be the Outdoor Adventures Program Chair for the district, and that'll be the person who works in concert with a couple other districts to help provide in a cluster activities, training, advancement, and camping promotions throughout the districts in that cluster. And so that new position will work directly with the Michigan Crossroads Council VP for Outdoor Adventures and Program and the division level VP for Outdoor Adventures and Program. And so you'll have a voice on all of that program, that calendar, et cetera, from the district level moving up as we plan calendars. On March the 21st, we were supposed to have a really large planning event. Because of COVID, it didn't take place. So it will take place this summer. And we're going to pull all these district level volunteers together with our division and our council level volunteers. And we're going to chart a calendar forward so that we can drive those activities, as I mentioned earlier, down closer to the district level and make sure we're serving people in the areas in which they live, so they won't have to drive, we hope, more than an hour for those types of activities. All right, in addition to providing that support as the camping directors, they're going to help these folks to build a project charter, to build a budget, to order the equipment that I talked about earlier so that they can execute the event in a first-class style, and then to execute the event and close that event out to make sure that it's been a wonderful opportunity for the scouts that we're serving, no matter which program it is. Additionally, in the summertime, these camping directors will serve as the camping director for the related base that's listed there with their name. So whether it's D-Bar A, Cole, Rotary, or Gerber, they will serve those areas. Tatanka will be served by the Assistant Director of Outdoor Adventures, and that individual will not only serve Tatanka, but also give leadership to the Outdoor Adventures Program Assistants. There will be 5 people that will man the phones, and they are going to help across the state to help you with things like Eagle questions or campery questions or any kind of program or dinner question, etc., that you can possibly think of. Those guys will take your phone calls and they will facilitate making sure that you get the answers that you deserve. And so those individuals will serve in each one of our offices across the state and be there to serve our volunteers. So this is a new council program structure that's going to be administered and it's basically already started. These guys have had some planning sessions among themselves at this point. The golden box there says that our council level program committees will be also served through this structure. That would be coping, climbing, and aquatics, and shooting sports, and MIC, and all those other council level program committees will be served by the boxes above. And then the gray boxes you see below the red ones will be the individuals who live on site and or serve on site who will provide leadership to the groups and scouts and scouters that come in the gate. So once they arrive, this team will provide customer service and program to make sure that the experience that you're receiving is strong and that every time you come to one of our facilities, you have an opportunity to give us some survey feedback so that we can be absolutely certain that we're reaching you at a customer service level that you're comfortable with. So we're really looking forward to this Outdoor Adventures change, and we're excited about giving the opportunities back to the district to be able to put on program closer to home, and we believe that this program structure is going to prove to be very successful, and you are going to help us to make sure that it is by providing valuable feedback as it unrolls to make sure that we're delivering the promise that we're making to you. Next slide, please. So we talked about the field operations team, and there you go. We talked about the field operations team, and that field operations team is led by our Deputy Scout Executive for Field Operations, or our Chief Operating Officer. There will be 2 directors of field service, one in the west and one in the east. There will be 5 individuals working with data entry to help support the new membership services director as we bring all of our registration and the council program fee under one umbrella. The data entry assistants will help to make sure that all those records are entered accurately, that we're processing charters, that we're taking care of all the things that need to be handled under membership services. So we're excited about this new opportunity that we have out of our Ypsilanti office. And in addition, we have a product sales specialist who will continue to work with our $7+ million popcorn sale that serves our units and provides valuable income for well over 50% of our units to operate throughout the year. Next slide, please. This is where you come in. Many of you are district level scouters or unit level scouters, and your district will be served by a field director. There will be a field director in Division 1, primarily serving the districts on the west side of the state. There will be a field director in Division 2 that'll handle the districts that kind of go from the north down the center part of the state. And then the field director in Division 3 is our outreach director that will work with the Vision program, which is our scout reach effort in Grand Rapids, the Heroes program, which is currently in Southern Shores, Saginaw, and Lansing. And those 3 field directors will work with all the district executives in those blue boxes to make sure that we're providing quality program and services to each one of you as we move forward. Next slide, please. This is the East team that will be headquartered out of the Dowk Center in Detroit. And Field Director 1, Field Director in Division 1 basically is the area that was the thumb in the east side. Field Director 2 will be predominantly the districts from the former Great Lakes Council, Field Service Council. And Field Director number 3 is a mixture of Southern Shores Field Service Council and the Great Lakes Field Service Council. And then our Field Director in Outreach Division number 4 will be our Flint Scout Reach area, Port Huron Scout Reach area, Renaissance, which is downtown Detroit, and our Exploring Division. So we're excited about this team being led out of the Dowk Center. Next slide, please. So in order to do all of this, it requires a significant amount of fundraising. We have a development team in the West that will provide fundraising services out of the blue boxes in the bottom rather, and also working to provide program out of the Adventure Point facility that was newly built and released last year through a volunteer fundraising campaign. The yellow boxes on here are of great importance to you though, however. This is where your voice lies. So you'll see a yellow box that says Kalamazoo Area Advisory Members, Great Lakes Bay Region Area Advisory Members, the Grand Traverse Area Advisory Members, Lansing Area Advisory Members. We're not limited to those yellow boxes. Those just happen to be boxes where we have 3 to 5 volunteers who have stepped forward to help serve those areas, to open doors for scouting, provide marketing, and also to do some fundraising for us in those areas. So the first box says other communities as identified. That's because there's a lot of communities throughout the west side of the state where we could have a yellow box with 3 to 5 people from that area who could provide services for us, like the Holland area, for example, or the Muskegon area, for example. You pick an area and if it's supported by 3 to 5 volunteers who want to do those things, we can put a box there. What's the importance of that? In addition to the district chairman, the individuals from these boxes will also have a voice on the operating board. So the operating board will continue to exist. And in this case, we have kept the name President Ford because he was such an influential president within our state and was an Eagle Scout from this state. And so we kept the name President Ford as the division. And on the east side, we've kept the name Great Lakes because we're surrounded by the Great Lakes. No magic to it other than the history that's associated with it. And so as we've dissolved the 4 field service councils and we've created these 2 divisions, we just kept some of the historical naming based on our geography and the individuals who have served here. So that is our fundraising team and board development team, if you will. The board, the operating board, will not change. It'll add some people from the other areas that are in the gold area on the map I showed you. And it'll add those folks, and we'll carry them as long as they want to participate. And we'll continue to grow those boards and in service to you as we move forward. Next slide, please. This is the East team. Looks very similar to the one you just looked at. And the East team, there's 3 names on there: Genesee County area, Ann Arbor area, Detroit metro area. You could pick any number of a number of places, whether it's, Port Huron or up in the northern part of the Thumb, or pick a community. Those communities, as long as we have 3 to 5 people who are willing to open doors and help market scouting and raise some money for us, can certainly be a part of a box moving forward. And the only is how easy that is just simply to communicate with the operating board and or the director who's in the box at the top, or one of our finance directors, and we can get one of those things organized in a community that's near you. So we're excited about giving more voice to the field and more voice rising up to the operating boards so that we can continue to make decisions that benefit our districts and our units. One of the things we said to ourselves as we began to change this was, if it doesn't benefit the district and it doesn't benefit the unit, we have to question why we're making the decision. So as we move forward, this will be the structure for the operating boards. All right, so that is our professional team. If you have questions about that, again, please put them in the, send them to us in email format to communications@michiganscouting.org, and we will be more than willing to answer those questions. Now, as I continue, I want to switch gears for a second. Brad told you that we were going to talk a little bit about membership fee updates. The board of the National Council met in May, and they voted for a membership fee increase in order to continue to support the rising increase to the general liability insurance premium. And so the fees will be going up to $66. And they do that August 1st for new members and October 1st for returning members as we start thinking about recharter. It'll be $42 for explorers and $42 for volunteers as we move forward. Now, a couple things I want to say about this. Merit badge counselors are still no fee, but every volunteer must have YPT. And although some folks may consider this membership fee increase to be a hardship, I want to make sure that everyone understands that there are funds available for us to support membership and to support camp participation, et cetera, in the form of a scholarship. We handed out over $311,000 last year in support of individuals who otherwise couldn't afford either a camp experience or the registration. So I strongly urge you to continue to make application for those funds if you need to, or if a member of your unit needs to, and we'll be happy to review the paperwork and support them in any way that's possible for us to do. Next slide, please. There's a new member joining fee. It's a one-time fee that's been implemented by the national office. So the new member joining fee is $25. It does not apply to exploring participants or transfers from one program to another, like Webelos to Boy Scouts, et cetera. It also does not apply to registering adult leaders, okay? It is a flat fee, and it's paid no matter what time of the year you join, and new members from Cub Scouting, Scouts BSA, Venturing, or Sea Scouts will pay the $25 new member joining fee at the time of registration. Next slide, please. Okay, unit charter fee that we're all familiar with. Our charter partners pay a charter fee each year, and that fee is going up to $75, and that will begin August the 1st. Next slide, please. Earlier in the year, we sent out a survey and we talked about a potential program fee. The national office has allowed every council to consider a program fee. Friends of Scouting, family Friends of Scouting specifically, has gone down over the years from greater than 50% participation to, in the Michigan Crossroads Council, what amounts to be 18% family participation. And it's not fair for 18% of the families to bear 100% of the burden of cost that those funds were associated with. And so the board voted to implement an annual program fee. And for that program fee, there will be several membership benefits. There will be some signature events in the fall and the spring for scouts and families to attend. That'll be free and no cost, like a camporee in the fall to introduce new scouts to the program or reintroduce existing scouts to some fun activities, etc. There will be free campsite rental. There'll be free adult basic leader training. So things like IOLS and Baloo and those types of things. Understand that NYLT, Wood Badge, and Powderhorn are all called advanced leader training. And so those will still be a separate fee, but all basic leader training we will give for free to all of our volunteers. We'll also have council partner discounts and offers. So we get from time to time offers from theme parks or offers from museums, etc., for discounted tickets or 50% off or free tickets sometimes, and we'll make those things available to our volunteers. We're also going to continue to build that council partner list so that hopefully in the future, even though you're paying a $60 annual program fee, you're getting well over $100 worth of value if you take advantage of it in the form of either free things and or discounted opportunities. So we're looking forward to 100% of our membership bearing 100% of the support that's necessary for this particular element. And all those registered youth members in Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, Venturing, and Sea Scouting will participate in this. And yes, the $12 insurance fee that was paid last year is included in this fee. Next slide, please. So by now, you're probably sitting on the edge of your chair saying the national office is raising the membership fee, the council is adding a program fee, and this is adding up to be an expense I'm not sure I can incur. So we worked very diligently and listened to you during the fireside chats one more time when many, many, many of you said, we would love an opportunity to be able to pay this monthly and not have to write a check in December right before Christmas time, etc. And so could you please come up with a monthly membership opportunity? So we've created a program called Scout Pay through a worldwide program called World Pay. So they came up with a Scout Pay portal for us. And this Scout Pay portal will allow families the opportunity for an easy payment system. Now, units will be able to register and recharter using these options if they choose to. Some units still take their popcorn proceeds and they want to pay all their membership fees. And if they want to do that, they can. But units can also sign up to be a 100% Scout Pay user and then have all of their families go in and use the Scout Pay system. What is the advantage? It's an easy Scout payment system. Families will have an opportunity to go in and enter all of their own personal information related to the members of their family that are participating and the various things that they might be interested in adding to their Scout Pay portal, like Boys Life. Many Scouts get Boys Life. And then if, for example, you wanted to make a contribution toward one of those Scouts that can't afford to be in the program, you can do that there too. And in a moment, I'll give you a visual to show you just exactly how to do that. So when you go in there, you'll pay by credit or debit card. And like many other organizations, like the YMCA or gyms or many other types of facilities, you'll have that operation or that opportunity rather to to pay the fee, if you will, on a monthly basis. Now, units will receive a unique URL, and when they get that unique URL to their unit, they will pass it along to the families, and then the families will utilize that to register. But before I get to that, let's go to the next slide. Speaking of the monthly option, so youth that are joining this fall, and this is only for youth, they would join in August and they would pay $79.50 up front, and then from now on, they would pay $11. So that $11 would then be collected so that in December of 2020, we were able to pay their charter fee with the money that they had been paying monthly. So anybody who joins in September, you can see how that works. October, November, and then in December, it's $97.50. So that includes if they join in December, it includes the $25 one-time fee. It includes their recharter, $66, okay? And it'll include the apportioned amount of their insurance for this fall. And that's this fall only. And anybody who doesn't want to do the monthly program can pay once if they want to. And you can see in the gold color how much they would pay if they paid once. And you might say, well, that's a big difference. It is, because we have to collect the fee for the following year at the same time, because we can't register somebody for less than 6 months, and we can't register them for more than 18. So we collect it all up front in August, September, October, November, and December. Next slide, please. So for those existing families who are currently registering the program, you have two options. You can, as this slide says, you can pay it all up front. And if you do, in December of 2020, you'll pay $126. And in the December of 2021, or 2022 rather, you'll pay $132. Why is that? Because the national office announced that their fee will escalate over the next 3 years. It'll be 66 this August, 72 next August, and 75 the August after that. So they've told us ahead of time what their fee is going to be, and so therefore you can see the difference in the cost. And so if it's a newly joining member at any one of those months, you can see what they would have to pay, and then in 21 they'll pay $132 for the year of 2022. Next slide, please. All right, so this is the monthly opportunity, and I think you're going to find this to your advantage. Last fall, you paid $72 with a $60 membership fee and a $12 insurance fee to register in the program. This fall, in December, you'll pay $66, and then in January, we'll start collecting $11, and you'll pay $11 after that, all the way into 2022. In August of 2022, because the fee goes up to $75, it'll be 50 cents more. So you'll pay $11.50. So if you pay $66 in December, you will only pay $11 from that point forward to be a part of scouting. You basically are looking at just a few Coca-Colas to be a member in scouting for each month. Now, if somebody's newly joining and wants to be a part of that monthly payment system, you can see the upfront fee, and then it's $11 for them as well. And they would pay the upfront fee, so it's front loaded, and then the $11 after that for every month moving forward. And in August, you'll see where it says that the fee will change, and that'll go to $72 in August of 21. Okay, next slide, please. All right, and this would be the adult slide. But before I go into this, I also want to say to you that if for some reason your unit has some kind of a fee that they charge annually, let's say it's for campouts or for Cub Scouting to take care of blue and golds and all that kind of stuff, if they do that, that would be an internal fee taken care of by the unit. At this time, we're not able to incorporate it into this scenario, but we will just wanted to let you know that that's something that'll have to be taken care of within the unit. Now, for adults, you have the same opportunity. You can either pay up front the $54, which is the registration fee of $42 plus the $11 or $12 rather insurance fee. Or if we go to the next slide, you have a monthly opportunity as well. So in your monthly opportunity, you can pay $54 in December, which will register you for 21, and then start paying in January $450, and in December of 21, we don't have to ask you for a large fee. You've already paid your membership by paying $450 a month, and that covers the insurance and it covers the membership fee. So I think that you will find it a lot easier for many families to go, who particularly are living paycheck to paycheck, to handle the monthly fee as opposed to the large fee in December. So hopefully this answers the request that you all had given us to try to solve. And we're excited about the opportunity to bring the membership stuff in under our own umbrella and to start to serve you with this and help you out with monthly membership fees as we move forward. All right, just to have a little bit of a fee recap. So in 2020, August 1, it's going to go to $66 for new members, and then October 1 for existing members, and then the MCC program fee of $60 leaves you with the $126 fee each year. Now, hopefully you will find that the Scout Pay membership portal is exactly what's going to help you. And so speaking of the portal, you will be able to do that on your mobile phone, your tablet, or your computer, and your unit will give each family a unique URL to that unit. You'll go online, you'll put in the URL, and then you'll start logging your information, your name, your phone number, your email address, the personal password that you have, because all of your private information will not be able to be seen by anybody other than you. And then you're going to sign up. And once you sign up, it's going to take you to your unit's page, and you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, this one happens to say Troop 2345, sponsored by A Plus Federal Credit Union. It'll provide you with your name, your information, and then you will start working your way through to put in the information. I'd like to check the box for Boys Life. I'd like to check the box for assistance to individuals. Whatever it is that you want to do, I'd like to be a monthly subscriber, or I'd like to pay all at once on my credit card. Whatever the choices are that you want to make, there's only going to be 4 or 5 options there. And once you do that, and you click through that, you will come to a checkout screen, and we'll get to that in a second. But as you're doing that, next slide, we'll be able to see on the back side with our membership team exactly what units are participating, and they will be activated, and we'll be able to see the transactions that have occurred. If you look at the menu on the left, the family plans, the payers, and the users that have been assigned by a unit to participate in the use of this product. And also, next slide, the unit will also be able to go in and get reports of who in their unit is participating, and whether or not they're a single pay member or whether they have reoccurring, and we're collecting it by month. They will, however, never be able to see your personal data. That will be password protected by you, and all they will have is just static reports that they can run to see who's involved. So as we get closer to recharter time, they can see how much money's been collected toward their recharter. Every family member, every family who is a member of Scouting will have an opportunity to participate in the Scout Pay portal. Next slide, please. Now, when you go to checkout, you'll have the opportunity to put in your information. And once you've checked out, there's also going to be another box that you can check to say, add another family member. So if you have another family member registered to this unit, you can add another adult or youth and click the information that you wish to check on the box. And then it will finally take you to this screen, which will be your checkout. And so This is a demo purpose only view, but it'll look much cleaner and nicer on a screen. And then it's going to tell you, here's how much money you owe, and here's how much money it's going to be per month. And you'll know up front exactly what your monthly charge will be. Okay, so that is our Scout Pay portal, and we're super excited about that, to be able to bring that product to you to hopefully make it a little bit easier for those who are living paycheck to paycheck to be able to afford to continue to participate in a quality way in scouting. This FAQ will be available to you tomorrow when we go live with the link. We're going to send each one of you who are registered for one of our webinars a link to these documents, and you'll be able to go click on the link, take you onto our website, and you can download all of these documents and FAQs that'll be available to you beginning sometime later tomorrow. We have roughly 150 questions left to go through, not counting the ones you guys are sending in right now. And so we've got to go through those, put them together, identify the ones that are alike, and then put the answers out there for you, and then take the unique questions and answer those and put those on an FAQ for you. So as soon as we can get that accomplished tomorrow, that link will go out to everyone and you'll have access to the documents. But we'll promise you that'll be tomorrow. All right, with that, that kind of explains our membership fee increases, the program fee, and the new Scout Pay membership portal. And the last slide for the evening is this one. It talks a little bit about what post-COVID program reentry. I have had innumerable emails since the governor decided that the shelter order would be lifted from many volunteers across the state. And basically, those volunteers have been asking, can I start meeting again? Can I start my Eagle Service Project? Can I start going camping? When can I, when can I, when can I? And I understand the urgency that you all have, having been cooped up for so long, that you want to get back to scouting because of the passion you have for the program. We have the same passion, but I want to talk to you for a moment about some of the challenges that we have making that decision immediately. So the requirements, once the shelter order was lifted, there are still a number of requirements that we have to follow as an agency in order to determine our path forward. The licensing and regulatory agency is got to release one of the documents, and we're told it could be up to 2 weeks before it comes out. That was last week when they said that, but up to 2 weeks before it comes out. And then we have to couple that with the Center for Disease Control documents and the Department of Health and Human Service requirements. And then we have to be able to look at that to say, okay, what are they asking us to do? What are the business requirements in order for our scouters to return to doing activity? And so once we have that, we will be able to make some of those decisions. The BSA has two types of insurance coverage for units. The first one is accident and sickness, and that sickness insurance, if someone were to get COVID, would only cover up to $7,500 per incident. And if you know anybody who's had COVID and they've had to go to the hospital, you know that their bills are far larger than $7,500. So we have a challenge with the amount of money that will be covered if we end up having a COVID patient that comes from a scouting experience. So the second piece of this is the liability insurance policy, which is the reason for the increase in the amount of membership fees, because the amount of that policy escalated tremendously this year given the bankruptcy. And so the other challenge we have with that general liability insurance policy is something called secondary transmission. So if Scout X comes to a camp out and goes home and has COVID and happens to give that COVID to grandma, and grandma passes away, that's called secondary transmission. And if that were to occur, then the challenge we have is we're not certain how much of the liability insurance premium will cover us if the family decides that they're going to sue us as a result of grandma passing away and Scout X getting that through a presumed Scout outing. There's a chance that, well, the insurance company has told us they will investigate every single case because that COVID has to have manifested itself while that Scout was participating in that Scout activity. And if for some reason they can figure out that it didn't, then that liability coverage will not be in existence. Okay? And so we have some challenges with liability and we have some challenges with accident insurance that we're still trying to work out through our national organization. And when we get that completely worked out, we'll have a better answer as to how we move forward, because the primary importance here is the safety of our volunteers and charter partners as it relates to liability, and making sure that our scouts, particularly those who don't have their own insurance, are able to be covered should something happen. And the third thing that is a stumbler right now is the raw cost of personal protective equipment. The governor is telling us that we need to provide personal protective equipment for anyone who comes to one of our events. And that's the current standing that was released. And so it's not a final one. We're waiting on all of that to come out from LARA, the licensing regulatory agency. But it causes us some issues related to the cost of providing all of that protective equipment. In addition to that, there's a lot of cleaning responsibilities that come along with someone visiting one of our camps. So if somebody's utilizing our camps and they go into a bathroom or a shower facility, every 2 hours or after every use, we've got to clean that bathroom. Not only is that going to cost us a lot in chemicals, but it's also going to cost us a lot in labor. And so we've got some challenges we're working through, and we hope to have these handled here in the next week or two so that we can give you guys the answer you're looking for, which is when can we have program reentry? No matter whether it's an Eagle Service project or if it's a camp out or if it's just a meeting, okay? Now, we do know these things. We do know that when you return, Part A and B medical form, which most scout leaders carry around with them when they're going on an outing, normally we would have received a copy of that for a council camporee, for example. And we would have given that back to you after the camporee. Well, no longer can we do that. We have to hang on to that medical form so that if there is a COVID case afterward, we're able to go to the medical form and see exactly what the medical form said. Also, we're going to have a youth and we're going to have an adult waiver form that'll need to be filled out. It's a one-time form, but it needs to be filled out, and leaders are going to have to carry that in a little book that they have with all the medical forms. There's also a doctor's release for vulnerable members. You ask yourself, what's a vulnerable member? Vulnerable member is somebody who happens to have respiratory problems of some kind or some other health-related problem that makes them very vulnerable to COVID. And also it includes 60 years of age individuals and or older who are going to have a doctor's release, and the doctor's going to have to tell them about the risks, et cetera, have a conversation and sign a piece of paper that says, my doctor said that I'm eligible to participate. All right, and finally, for those adults that are part of properties committees and who are spending a significant amount of time at our camps this summer, helping us with those clean, refresh, and repair projects I talked about earlier, we're going to ask each one of those individuals who are routinely at one of our facilities to sign a volunteer contract. Because if they sign the volunteer contract, then if something happens to them while they're working as a staff member for us this summer, a volunteer staff member, then we will be able to cover them with workers' compensation. That's not everybody. That's those people who are are coming to the camps routinely and routinely participating over the course of the summer in the CRR program. So as you can see, as it relates to program reentry, it's not as easy as, sure, we have to look at a lot of pieces to make sure that we're not only making a safe environment for our scouts to participate in, but we're also making sure that our volunteers are covered. You know, a shining example of that is the governor says you have to wear a mask when you're in public. Now, because cell phones are so prevalent and every kid I know likes to take a picture and post it somewhere, all you got to do is have one picture of you being the leader and those kids not wearing their masks, and somebody gets sick, and all of a sudden the insurance company says, well, the leaders weren't making sure that the kids were wearing the mask, and so therefore they're bearing the responsibility related to the passing along of COVID. So those are all the things we're thinking about, folks. And we're very concerned about you. And so we're trying to make sure 100% before we release people back to program reentry that we know the answers to help support you the best way we possibly can in delivering the scouting program across Michigan. So that is the story that we have this evening. And our final slide is basically, you know, send us all of your questions to communications@michiganscouting.org. We want to hear them. We want others to be able to see them, because if it's a question for you, somebody else is probably asking it. And so we appreciate each and every one of you for all that you've done for us in scouting and all that you do for the kids that you serve. It's an amazing opportunity that we've had to serve together in this sheltering time frame to be able to put on all of the virtual programming that's been done in the Michigan Crossroads Council. And I hope you and your youth have had a chance to enjoy some of that. No, it's not a replacement for normal scouting, but it is an opportunity for us to continue forward and to continue earning some merit badges. And we'll continue to do some virtual programming this summer in the form of day camps, in the form of a camping opportunity, a resident style camping opportunity. But the sooner we can get back to scouting in the field, the better off we're going to be and the more fun it will be for all of us. So until then, I'll see you on the scouting trail. And with that, Mr. President, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Don. As you can see, interesting times create some pretty interesting challenges, and we're going to meet them and move scouting forward in Michigan. As Don said, we appreciate your participation tonight. We look forward to your questions and comments. If you can email those in, and we will keep you posted over the summer and the like as we move Michigan scouting forward. With that, I want to say everybody stay safe and good night. This is our presentation for this evening. Thank you.